Hey, welcome everyone. Had a couple technical difficulties, but I think I got it under control. Just want to say thank you for coming and checking out the music lesson. If you watched the last video, I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, and I just want to continue along with some of what I was talking about last week. If anybody has any questions, put them in the live chat, and I will hopefully be able to get to those. Let's see here. So last week we were more or less talking about the harmonic series, which I totally am enamored with. And once I discovered it, thanks to a Paul Hindemith book, which I've actually got right here. Little plug for Paul Hindemith. Paul Hindemith, The Craft of Musical Composition, Book 1, Theory. So I'm definitely a big fan of this book. If you know me or have watched any of my videos or anything, you know that I'm a big fan of that. And that's where I got opened up to the harmonic series. And then that's a lot of like where my exploring comes from. So last week, we were going over, let's say we've got our fundamental tone here, and then this tone automatically produces other tones on top of it. It's a little bit, everyone kind of has different words for these tones, and it's all from mistranslations and misunderstanding the mistranslations. So I like to call them upper tones. Partials sometimes is a word that I will use. Some people like to use the word overtone. I think that's actually quite common, the word overtone, but I don't know if that's the best term. So I like upper tone. So long story long, here's your fundamental. You double the frequency to get the octave, right? This is the most consonant sound. This is the most consonant of two different sounds that we can get. And then our next upper tone is going to be, it's a fifth. It's a fifth above C. I was starting at C. So the octave was obviously an octave above C. And then the next upper tone was a fifth above C. And this is not the case, but let's say this frequency was 100 hertz. How I arrived at all these tones is you just double them. So, for example, the second tone here is going to be 200 hertz, the octave. And then the third tone is going to be 300 hertz. 3 times 100 hertz, 300 hertz. And you keep doing this. So 4 times 100 hertz. I don't know if you can hear it, but that's the octave. So it's 2 octaves above the fundamental. And then you go 5 times 100 hertz. And this is where it gets kind of, this is a big colorful interval for us, the major third. But before we get to the major third, I want to take a step back and kind of talk about the octave. Like I just mentioned before, it's the most consonant of intervals that exist, because it's a simple doubling or halving of frequencies. So if our fundamental is 100 hertz, double it, 200 hertz, octave, beautiful. It's so consonant. And whether we want to admit that or not, human beings are drawn towards consonants, so we like that sound. Similarly, if you got 100 hertz and you wanted to divide that by 2, 50 hertz an octave below, that's also going to have the same consonants. Okay, so we got 100 hertz here, 200 hertz the octave, 300 hertz. All right, this is where it starts to, this is the next most consonant interval after an octave. All right, so for the sake of our ears and making sense, I was talking about this last week, I remember now, with the 3:2. So if this is a 1-to-1 ratio, 100 hertz, fundamental. This is 2-to-1 ratio. It's a doubling, 200 hertz to 100 hertz. And this is a 3-to-1 or a 3-to-2. So the 3-to-2 ratio, I remember talking about last week, and that is where we get all sorts of cool things happening, both in terms of melodically harmonic and rhythmically harmonic. If you remember trying to clip 3 times and the time that's in the same time span as 2 clips, we get the really easy, I don't know if it's a mnemonic device, I don't know if that's the word, but you get not difficult, remember? So my right hand is moving it 3 for every 2 of the left hand. It's not difficult. And so that relationship of 3-to-2, that simple rhythm, 3:2, when you speed that rhythm up, it turns into this interval, which is absolutely insane to think about, that an interval is both when it's fast, it is both it's both melodic, and when it's slowed down, it becomes rhythmic. Absolutely mind-blowing to me that you've got rhythmic and melodic information from one interval. And there was one other thing that I wanted to mention about the 3:2, or the 3-to-2 relationship. That interval, I have heard everyone from Steve Coleman, who is an amazing, very forward-thinking musician, definitely at the vanguard of musical thought in American music. I've heard everyone from Steve Coleman to what's my man's name, Herman von Helmholtz, who is kind of like he's a scientist and physicist who started to codify how sound is perceived by us and the physical properties of it. And so sources as diverse as those two men have said that relationship of a fifth is found across our world in every culture. In every musical culture, there's a fifth. Just as there is a octave across every culture, because that's such a fundamental, it's so ingrained in us and in our ears. And in the same sense, we've got a lot of music that's in 3/4 time. Think of a waltz: 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. That's very common. We have plenty of music that is written in this 3/3 time, and we've also got plenty of written music in that's based on 2, which is called duple. And so how these two play together is a very solid framework or fabric that is woven in terms of music. But I feel like I'm maybe rambling a little bit about this. So to get us back, fundamental pitch, the octave, the fifth, which in the key of C, like we're in, is going to be a G, and then the next upper tone, C, and then so this relationship, I don't know, I'm not certain what's going on here, sorry. Hopefully you can hear that okay. The relationship there is then 3 to 4. So we got fundamental 100 hertz, octave 200 hertz, fifth above 300 hertz, octave above that 400 hertz. All right, so then 4 to 3 represents a whole new ratio for us, right? We've got 1 to 1, we've got 2 to 1, we've got 3 to 2, but 4 to 3 is something new entirely. So that is that interval. If you want to play with the same ideas of not difficult, putting 4 in the right hand versus 3 in the left hand, you can come up with pass the yellow butter, pass the yellow butter, pass the yellow butter, pass the yellow butter. So that's 4 clicks in my right hand versus 3 in my left hand. And when you get that rhythm sped up, then you create the interval of a fourth. Sorry, just got a chat note that that the volume was low. I'm still trying to figure this out. This is only my second live stream, so please be patient. I'm trying my best. Let me see if I can come up with a solution here. Well, what's going on? I don't know. Let me try this. Okay. And now, well, shoot. You know, all the prepping you can do, and you're still gonna have issues. What's the John Lennon quote? Life is what happens to you when you're busy making other plans. I love that quote. So thank you for the heads up about the volume being low. Hopefully it's better now. Right, yeah, you can hear me fine, but when I play it's low. So hopefully that took care of the issue. Fingers crossed. So we were talking about the 4 to 3 ratio, and the fact that when you have 4 clips for every 3 clips, that's a cool interval. Again, the mnemonic device is pass the yellow butter, pass the yellow butter. And then when you speed that rhythm up, it becomes the interval of a perfect fourth, or a fourth. And fourths are very similar to fifths in that the note that we've got a C and a G, so all we're doing is basically moving the C an octave above. So now we've got a G to a C. So like fifths, fourths are also found across the music of our world. They're like I don't know, cousins or brothers or sisters, or I don't think they're twins, but I think they're siblings. And now let's get into that right there, that highest interval. That's we call it a major third. Again, if we got 100 hertz, 200 hertz is the octave, 300 hertz is the fifth, 400 hertz is 2 octaves, 500 hertz is the fifth. All right, 500 hertz is the major third, and this interval is very, very constant. You probably remember being in elementary school. I remember being in elementary school music class, and the music teacher would always say, that's a happy interval. And this is the beginning to form the basis of all of our not all of our, it's beginning to form the basis of a lot of musical composition, a lot of musical theory. And it's cool that at least in Western European music, how our music, how the music was kind of progressed was related to the harmonic series. And by that I mean that what intervals they were singing was, and how the public's ears accepted those intervals was based on the harmonic series. So at first you just had unison. You just had people singing. You just had people singing simple unison melodic lines because that's what people heard. And so they were comfortable with that and they accepted that. And then when it breaks open into the fifth, that's just a fourth right there, and then a fifth right there. So it's cool to have more information, and the information that is being added is directly proportional to the harmonic series. So I guess that's a really, really long way of saying that when we get to this, that major third right there, this is very, very powerful. When we introduce a third note into our melodic harmonic structure, it is a lot of it is a whole new world opens up for us. Assuming that this is the fundamental, that's the octave. Here's the fifth. Here's the second octave, and here is the major third. Let's get rid of the fundamental. Let's get rid of the lowest octave, and then we just have this beautiful 3-note complex sound, complex chord. You call it a triad. Tri obviously being 3, and add means, I don't know, put them together, right? So here is this amazing, beautiful triadic chord that we can start to now use to add further color. It's like if before you just had red and blue, I guess that would maybe be blue. Well, red and blue, and then you get that note in there, that's like yellow. Now you can really start mixing and matching. All right, so it really opened up the doors in terms of melody, in terms of harmony, and in terms of rhythm too. Unfortunately, our rhythmic skills and my rhythmic skills are not as advanced as my melodic skills. So it would be the exact same thing in the sense that if you wanted to then do the 5 to 4, remember you got 1 to 1, 2 to 1, 3 to 2, 4 to 3, 5 to 4. If you wanted to do 5 to 4 like that, I know that many people can do that. I need to practice that, so I'm not going to subject you to it, but that is the interval 5 to 4. And I'm sure you've all heard, right? Automatically there's a song right there. You know what song that is, and those are just those 3 notes. There's another song that just has those 3 notes. So with these notes now, we're starting to get a lot more options, and then it starts to kind of beg the question. Okay, so now that we've got those 3 notes based on this one fundamental, what would happen if we changed fundamentals? Well, we could, what should we change to? Which fundamental do we want to go to? We know if we're going to use the information that the harmonic series has already provided us, we know that the most common interval is an octave. So we could try this rearranging the harmonic series up an octave. But that doesn't give us any new information. It just raises it gives us new information, but it doesn't give us new content. It just raises our frequencies. It just doubles our frequencies. Okay, so the octave is out. Let's find another interval. How about the fifth, right? The interval's the second most consonant interval we've got. Let's maybe start a new harmonic series based on the fifth. All right. So that would then be right. Check that out. Pretty cool. If you've got that information and you can combine it with this information, I don't know how many of you all recognize this just in terms of, yeah, I've heard that before, but I've definitely heard that before. I heard that all the time in church. I heard that all the time in church growing up. And outside of church, it permeated. It's in all sorts of popular music, especially from maybe back in the day. Now it seems like popular music is focusing more on rhythm. Quick confession, I'm not a huge listener of popular music right now, but a lot of it seems to be more rhythmic based as opposed to melodic based. Totally fine. But back to my point, this is a very strong starting point to jump into some more musical ideas. Remember, we got that. This is the harmonic series based on C, harmonic series based on G, harmonic series based on C. So let's say, instead of just jumping around, literally picking up my hands, keeping the same position, and then setting them on a different note, what would happen if we kind of condensed all those notes together? Like, so instead of a C, a C, a G, a C, and an E, what if we just had a C, E, and a G? All right. And then likewise, where we've got a G, the octave G, the fifth D, the octave G, and the major third B. What if we just all condensed that into G, B, D? So I'll show you what I'm talking about here. So here's the harmonic series starting on the key of C. What if we condense this into one octave? You know what? I think I may. Well, no, I don't want to. So yeah, totally different sound. I mean, it's obviously the same notes, but we've transposed them. And similarly, we can transpose from our G harmonic series. Let's bring this all within one octave. Right? And then we've got our C and G. Now let's bring it even more inside of itself, because we got C, E, G, and then G, B, D. Let's bring that, I call it inverting. Let's invert this G triad. And by that, I mean the D that's on top. Let's put it on the bottom. So we have a bottom D, then a G, and then a B. All right? And so now we've got C, E, G, and then D, G, B, right? So automatically, we're really starting to just open up in terms of what we can do with melody, because we did not have these notes available to us before. So it's super cool to have that the major third got introduced into our harmonic series. So, right? So that's a really, really, really easy way to add some motion to your music. These inversions, so to speak. So right now we got the major triad of C, E, G, and then we're going to go to a G major triad, but I'm going to play the notes D, G, B. And now let's go back to a C major triad, but this time we're going to start on C, G, E. Cool. And now let's go back to our G major triad, and then we're going to start on G, B, D. And now we're going to go back to our C major triad and go G, C, E. Right? So it's a very cool way to give the illusion of motion, even though you're kind of hanging around in the same block. You know, you're pretending like you're going out, checking out 2 or 3 blocks around you, but you're still on your own block. This keyboard's driving me crazy right now. Sorry. And then that leads us to a common device that I'm sure you've heard. Sorry, I took it a little bit too far. But if you got your major triad, and then you want to start like a walk down, is how it's called, right? Now when I was talking about church, being able to hear this sound, and then, oh, excuse me. Now it's even easier to hear when you've inverted the chords. I know you've all heard that sound. All right, let me turn this monitor back on. All right. Sorry, I felt like I was kind of getting a little bit tangenty and maybe even a little bit rambly. So I hope that that you all were able to stick through it and connect all the information that I was trying to give. I don't think anybody has any questions. If you're watching at a later date, definitely leave a question or a comment in the comment section, and I'll try to get back to you. I'm going to be doing this on Saturdays, although I think next week I'm going to do it at 2 p.m. Eastern time. So Saturdays at 2 p.m. Eastern time. Again, if you've got questions or comments, leave them. And let's see, all the other stuff I need to mention. I've got some music that you can check out. There's a link to my website on my YouTube page. Please check it out. Or you could go to the Bandcamp or any streaming services that you use. I should be on all those: Spotify, Amazon Music, Tidal, whatever it may be. Nathan Goheen. And a lot of my music is based on the theory of the harmonic series and what I was just talking about. And that segues nicely into the point that a lot of that music I also, in addition to writing, I also performed it, recorded it, and then mixed it myself. I'm definitely not a master, but part of writing your music in this day and age is part of writing the music in this day and age is getting it as ready as you can to put out there. We've all got this great technology, and so we need to write the music, we need to record the music, then we try to make it sound as good as possible, and then we get it to you. So if anybody has any questions about that, it doesn't, whatever it may be, it could be about writing music, it could be about recording music, it could be about mixing music, it could be about playing an instrument, whatever questions that somebody may have, I could definitely do my best to help you, because I've learned on my own journey. Like I said, I'm not a master, but I'm interested in this, and I have definitely researched it. Let's see. Anne Marie asked, "Can you make a meditation with this series?" Yeah, I'm not sure I understand that question completely, but you know, you can definitely meditate with that. Let's see here. A lot of I feel like the first meditation that came to my mind is just someone going, "Oh," right? And I think sonic meditation is great. It is a step beyond focusing on just your breath, and it adds another level. So yeah, you can definitely meditate with that. And you know, I'm not super experienced with that, so I don't want to talk too much about something that I don't know about. But I think for me, I mentioned this in the last video. For me, one of the things that I just absolutely love to do is to pick a pitch, the C from our harmonic series, and then I really love singing a fifth above that note. So, and that to me is very meditative. It's very meditative, and it also is a great way to work on my intonation. So there's the pitch again. So I was, you know, playing with going above and then below. Man, this opened up a whole can of worms, because now it's got me thinking about binaural beats, which I don't know a whole lot about, but from my understanding, it is playing a frequency of, I don't know, 400 hertz in your right ear, and let's say 410 hertz in your left ear. And apparently it's important that you have them on headphones. You don't want them on speakers, because then you will sum those two frequencies outside of your body. But if they're summed, and by summed I just mean combined, but that if they're combined on the inside of your body, that's where you get the desired like, I think like theta waves is something that I've read about. So you want to try to get like 400 hertz in one ear and then 410 hertz in the other ear, and then in your brain there's an amazing phenomenon called combination tones, and it's essentially wherever you've got two tones, you can subtract the frequency of the higher tone, or excuse me, you can subtract the frequency of the lower tone from the frequency of the higher tone, and then you get a combination tone. I talked about that briefly in one of the other videos. I guess that may be a topic for another date. But combination tones are awesome. They also help inform what we as humans hear as consonant. I don't think I want to get into combination tones right this second, but like I was saying, so if you've got 410 hertz and you've also got 400 hertz, 400 subtracted from 410 equals 10 hertz. So 10 hertz is outside of our hearing range. We only hear down to about 20 hertz. But if you are playing those separate frequencies, the idea is that your brain will tune in to that 10 hertz vibration. It will subtract the 400 hertz from the 410 hertz, and then it will tune in to a 10 hertz vibration, which I think is a theta wave, but it may not be. Theta waves may only go up to 8 hertz. This is something I'm interested in, but I do not know much at all. So that, I guess, leads back into using the harmonic series to meditate. You know, if you like I was saying, I like to meditate by singing a pitch. So if you can sound a pitch, let's say you've got a singing bowl. If you sound a pitch and then you hear that grating, that's the beating, and the binaural part, to I think, is when it is in the beating occurs at a specific frequency. But just playing that and then like singing around, playing around with it, that could maybe be meditative to you. If you've got a singing bowl, you could maybe mine's in my other room. You could just be ringing it and then try to phonate. What's the word I'm looking for? You could sing along with your singing bowl. So play your singing bowl and then match pitches with it, and then maybe try a fifth above your bowl or a fifth below, depends where your bowl is pitched. But that would definitely help me meditate. Sorry, I feel like there's a lot of info there and it didn't all connect. So if anybody has any questions, definitely feel free to ask about that. But yeah, thanks for asking the question about using this series to meditate. I would say start off just by making sound. Add some sonic quality to your meditation, which, can easily be done. And then if you want to go from there, add a singing bowl or a keyboard. Like I was saying, I use a keyboard when I meditate. So to just have like a constant pitch, right? But yeah, I love meditating, and I love music, and I love figuring out where they connect. All right, so thank you all for watching this video. I hope it was helpful. Again, reach out to me. My website is attached to my YouTube account. I've got some music up. I'd love for you to hear it. And I'll see you next Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern time, and we'll go from there. All right, have a great rest of your Saturday, and I'm gonna stop